let's move with the next problem now, which is an unconventional case, and it's about greening of an airlines. So our problem statement is this, that our client is a leading aviation firm and they want to go green and want basically our help on how they should go about this process. What would be our recommendation? Okay, so in this question, we will first of all start with, so here we have the steps mentioned, right? So step number 1, step number 2, blah, blah, blah. I will spend now some time clarifying the questions and asking preliminary questions, making sure there's no ambiguity left and I gather enough information. So the client is a leading aviation firm and they want to go green. Want your help on how do you recommend this? Now this analogy is something I will keep repeating over and over again, which is that when you have a problem like this, first would be, what does going green mean? You have some obvious idea that this would mean that they want to reduce the carbon footprint. Best to confirm this. So does this mean that they want to reduce the carbon footprint? Yes. Then for a problem like this, when this is so broad, I typically like to ask, are all options on the table or are they looking to do this in a particular manner? And let's say the answer is, consider whatever you have to consider. Now this problem really is about being as broad as possible upfront so that the interviewer can take in something interesting and pick that up. Now one problem is that there are absolutely hundreds of things you can do in a problem like this. Every small thing that you do could be a contribution. So 80-20 will be something that we have to employ very rigorously when we start talking about a problem like this. Okay. Then the next question would be, well, they want to go green, but where are they right now? And what's the end objective? What I'm solving for? Where do they want to be? And then my strategy essentially is to construct a bridge here. All I'm going to do is figure out that if I do, let's say I have to go from 100 to 5 imaginary numbers. Strategy 1 takes me till 90, or let's say takes me till 70. Strategy 2 takes me till 60. Strategy 3 brings me to 30. Strategy 4 brings me to 15. So I might have to do a bunch of things till I eventually reach 5. So my job is right now to have those hundreds and thousands of things, lay them out, and then use my business judgment. Second, some amount of creativity. Third, and perhaps the most important, a discussion with the interviewer to figure out which these big ticket items are and talk about those first. Okay. So that will be one more thing we'll want to understand, from where are we right now and where do we want to be at. And then if I had 5 years, I could implement a huge plan. If I had like 5 months, even let's say an initiative which would have caused a huge impact, that initiative could not be implemented because of the lack of time. So time, how much time do I have, becomes of paramount importance. So you have to ask, how much time do we have to construct this bridge? You might want to ask, how much financial resources do we have? What kind of support do you have? If you feel that is relevant to this problem. Okay. So these would be the set of initial questions I would ask. I would also typically want to understand, perhaps this does not help me solve the problem as much in this case, as it shows me my interest in the problem solving process, which is something I would want the interviewer to realize. I would also want to understand, why do they want to go green at this point of time? Just get the interviewer to talk more. This is typically very useful. If you make the interviewer talk more upfront, that's more brownie points for you, because they might give you information that is helpful for solving this case. Okay, so let's move on. How do we do this? So in a problem like this, which is so broad, you really have to nail down a few things. There are few lenses you will have to adopt. Okay. Here, the 4 lens I am using are passengers, plane, and office. How do I come up with these points? So I start broad and I have to figure out how do I break my problem down. So one way could be there are front end operations which are happening and there are back end ops which are happening. I had no clue how to have initial VC. So I did this. And this is what you will have to do always. It's not always profit is revenue minus cost. For an unconventional problem, you have to think of more things. Now, backend would end up being all the office activities which happens. And I define this as activities which do not concern the customer directly. Now, one might go about, splitting hair that when we start listing activities down, that some activities which I count as front end should actually go into back end. In a case interview setting, it won't matter that much because you have just 30 minutes to solve this. If you were actually solving this problem for 6 months, then clearly you won't break this down into back end and front end also. You will have a lot more thinking resource at your disposal to break those problems down. So it's very important to not get bogged down by the details. Apply 80-20 also in terms of how you view the problem. Okay. So, well, when I talk about front end, let me do 2 things. Let me talk about the customer. So customer moving, and let me talk about the flight moving. So what I will do is, I realize that there are 3 things that essentially they are doing, the flight is doing right now. At different points, they are having an interface with the customer. Then they're operating a flight actually where the customer becomes powerless. And then there are a whole host of backend operations. Okay. So the way I have broken the front end activities down is where the customer is active, which is the first part. Second, where the customer is not active, which is the flight part. Okay. Again, if you want, you can break this down into any number of ways that you want. Okay. For me, this seems like the most adequate one. Now, why am I doing front end more than the back end? Because intuitively, I have a hypothesis that my flight operations are going to be the biggest driver. Basically, I have to get to somehow getting to fuel. So I am using this approach. Backend will have like hundreds of activities. I don't know what all activities even happen at the backend of a flight operation. So I'm not even going to bother about it as of now. Okay. And the good part is typically in a case interview, even the client, if even the interviewers solve majority of the problem in a structured fashion, then what they will typically ask is, okay, fine, can you tell me your top 2 or 3 recommendations when it comes to backend operations? You do that and you're pretty much sorted. Okay. So let's now try to trace out what is happening with the customer and what is happening with the flight. Now there's a choice to be made. You can break it down into as granular a structure as you want, or you can first make a broad chain and then try to figure out how much polluting each of those steps is, and then try to see if you want to break a particular step down further. So what does a customer's journey typically look like? Let me do it granularly. So they enter the airport, they print their boarding pass, then they go to, let's say they deposit their baggage, they go to security, they wait, they get checked and verified, they transit either through an aerodrome or through a bus to the craft, then they are in the craft, then there's a transit again, and then there's an exit. Okay. Now, I don't think I'm missing out on any step per se. You could break each of these down. You could look at waiting period, and then you can tell, oh, they do a bunch of activities in the waiting period. We could go into those things also. Sure, we could go into those activities. Now, baggage, as I mentioned, was one more thing. Now, initially when I broke the problem down, did not include baggage. Baggage came out to be one thing. I can make an entire chain for baggage also right now. Right? I can zoom in on baggage again. But throughout this entire process, what I'm trying to see are two things. A, how much impact these numbers have. And the second thing is, does the airline really have a control over any of these things? Because some of these activities are specific to the customer. Some of them are specific to the operations of the airport. So the airline might not be able to do anything about this. Okay. So how do we proceed further? We can ask the interviewer if they already have, let's say, the carbon footprint of each of those activities. They just might have it, because a lot of times cases are given from the interviewer's previous experience, so they might have a sense of the numbers, or they might ask you to take a best guess, that I'm not giving you numbers right now, what do you think is the biggest driver? So, well, in this case, you can assume whatever you want to assume. You can assume that in this case, my guess was that, craft operations, or which goes on to the flight operations, are probably the biggest driver. Okay. Or the interviewer could ask you that, hey, why don't you start listing out everything that you can think of? Then I'll start thinking of what are the things the player can do with respect to each of these things to go green. Can an individual flight operator do something about entry? Well, perhaps not. I mean, what is to be done there? Okay. Can they do something about the boarding pass? Well, printing out a boarding pass is pretty environmentally, I'm not saying pretty, but you are printing something. For that, you're causing some amount of environmental degradation. So you could say, okay, fine, let me figure out a way to turn the boarding pass digital so that people don't have to take printouts anymore. That could be one strategy. Two, let us say the interviewer says, no, that's not possible. Digital does not meet a security requirement. Then, using the boarding pass right now, can I actually change the material to be something which is less damaging? Okay. So specifically, let's say if I'm talking about boarding passes, damn it. So if I'm talking about boarding passes, how do I structure that? Boarding pass. Keep, don't keep. Perfect, Nisi. Yes and no. If I'm keeping same material, different material. Same size, different size. Okay. So many things I can do just with the boarding material itself. I can go digital, which would be the most impactful way. If I can't do that, let's say I have to keep a boarding pass, I could still print with the same material, but what if I reduce the size of the boarding pass? Or rather, I reduce the size of the boarding pass. I can make it smaller. That will reduce my footprint. Or I could keep it at the same size, but maybe I could reduce the amount of printing that I have on it. Or maybe right now I use a specific kind of paper. I can use a different material, and maybe that might give me a solution. Or you could argue that these two solutions are again based on the respective airport. You can't change much about it. So that's the idea. You can come up with a structure. You can always break problem down into consequent parts, but you will have to have a discussion with the interviewer. Okay. So I'll just break down few of the things. So I've shown you how you could break down boarding pass. Now, let's say baggage again. Baggage. What's the most environmentally friendly method? Don't have baggage or have baggage. If you could implement that all the associated process with baggage, you can remove. Okay. You could disincentivize people from having baggages or incentivize people not to carry baggage if you want. Or you could decide, no, I can't do anything about it. I have to have baggage. Okay, fine. Then what do? At this point of time, I don't know much about how the baggage works. So what I will do is I will simply request the interviewer that, can you please tell me what the entire process is? Once I deposit my bag, what does it look like afterwards? Okay. And then you just break that problem down. You have one more value chain which will be given to you. And what you can do is you can study that value chain and again go from left to right and keep figuring out what are the things you can remove, what are the things you can improve upon. Okay. This is a question about what is the measurement of the carbon footprint. Well, good question. I would typically ask you to, so carbon ton is one thing. CO2 ton equivalent is what you typically use for measuring carbon footprint. But what you could also do is just ask them in terms of relative units, that if this is 100, what is the relative magnitude of other things? Okay, that might simplify life. So moving forward, baggage done. Security, I don't think I can do anything about it. Okay. Waiting period, can I do anything about it? Again, handled by the airport, can't do much. Checks, maybe I can do something about it. Transit, definitely I can do something about it. Okay, let's say that I use buses right now. Not use bus, use bus. Not use bus, can I have everyone, right, either walk up to the airport or have a mechanism to transport them to the airport which is less polluting than a bus? Or maybe I can use buses but make sure that they are maintained properly, they have other anti-polluting measures which can be there. Same will apply to transit here. So again, depending upon how much time do I have and how much details I want to cover, I can come up with like, probably we already have like 7-8 recommendations right now. I can probably come up with like 30-40 if required. At this point of time, the interviewer would ask you to narrow it down. In an interview, what I would have done is I would have broken it down up front. Then I would have immediately jumped to the aircraft. And let's just explore the aircraft before we close the case. Okay, because I think the idea is very clear. If I had to look at backend operations also, I'll ask them what are the different backend operation activities, try to structure them out, try to understand the individual magnitude of those activities, and try to just come up with a framework, a structure to either remove some of the activities or to improve upon some of the activities. That's about it. Okay, so let's say the craft. What can you do? So again, one way is you can chart out the craft's entire journey. Okay, let me use that space. So let's say the craft goes from hangar to runway, wait, then take off, fly, land. So this is taxi on the runway, land, taxi, back to hangar. Okay, I can have this entire process for the aircraft. Clearly, I can try to go from, let's say, the taxiing aspect of it and try to understand, okay, fine, how is it done right now? Can I do it in a more effective manner? Or I could figure out that probably this flying aspect is the biggest fuel guzzling mechanism. Takeoff typically also consumes a lot of fuel. So you could then understand how the fuel is being consumed and you can try to rationalize this. Now, what is the carbon impact when you're flying? So it's because A is the transit aspect, B is the what is happening inside, right? So this is transit. So for the traveling, that this energy being consumed, and then there are a bunch of services being provided inside the aircraft for which energy is being consumed. So for the activities which are happening inside, well, I could break this down in an interesting fashion. So in a problem, sometimes it helps to shift gears. And the more nimble you are when it comes to shifting gears, the easier problem solving will become for you. Now, within the aircraft, there are so many things which happen. How do I do that? Well, the thing I'm trying to look at is that most of the activities, energy consuming activities which happen inside the aircraft are again customer centric. So I'll again take the lens of the customer and try to solve it from there. Okay. So what happens? So the customer, what does the customer do? Either they are seated or they are in the loop, right? So now there are a bunch of things I can do about the loop. Now, what are the bunch of things, right? So I can change the design of the flushing system. I can use better quality substances there. What are things I can do while they are seated? Now, this is one of my favorite frameworks, which is five senses. If you have to list out things and understand that if customer experience is being improved, then what is happening is one of the five senses is essentially getting activated. So the activities in the aircraft can be broken down along these things. There is lighting, so eyes. For skin, there is AC. Okay. For the tongue, you have food and beverage. For ears, music. Probably ignore it. For the nose, you might have fragrances. Well, here you might explore if they are poisonous or if they are damaging or not because they are aerosols, but you can again ignore it. Now, lighting, can you shift to more energy efficient lighting? AC, can you perhaps maintain the AC better, make sure thermostats are better maintained? Food and beverages, can you make sure that food and beverages only served when people need it? Can you move to better quality of plastic? Can you change the portion size? There are a bunch of things you can do. The point here only is to highlight that this, whenever you're dealing with an experience, the five senses can be pretty helpful. Now, whether instead of an aircraft, this was a mall, this was a theater, this was any other thing, it's a classroom, right? You could break the problem down into these aspects. And the other aspect is to be nimble. From passenger, I moved to aircraft. From aircraft, I've again moved to passenger when trying to get the framework in place. Okay. And then we come to the transit, which is probably, if I was solving this case in an interview, I'll probably start with that because that's like the biggest chunk, which is the biggest problem driver. So what's happening? So again, you have distance that has to be covered. Let's say you cannot do anything about it. Okay. So what do? So you have to basically either reduce fuel or use better fuel, which is less damaging. How do you reduce fuel? So the question then becomes, if the distance has to be covered, what are the drivers of fuel consumption? Again, I have no idea about aircraft, but I can logically think, right? Think of it like a car. What are the factors which affect fuel consumption for a car? Well, there are craft specific things. If my craft is old, not maintained, it will probably have more fuel consumption. If my pilot does not follow good practices, then fuel consumption might be more. Or the weather might be such that if you keep flying against the weather, fuel consumption is more. Maybe you can't do anything about the weather, but pilots can be taught better practices, crafts can be regularly maintained. So you could perhaps reduce fuel through these measures. You could buy better quality of fuel. Okay. Bunch of things. So the whole idea is a case like this would just be for you to think of possibilities in a structured fashion and do 80-20 and try to figure out, which are the bigger drivers, which are the smaller drivers. And you will keep having a discussion with the interviewer over and over again. Like in this case, if you are to, let's say, move to a different fuel, move to a better fuel, what are the problems? So if, let's say, the interviewer discusses with you better fuel, that sounds like a good idea. What are the things you will consider? Well, the first thing is ability to buy, and then ability to use. Is this too expensive? Can I access it? Are there any other restrictions when it comes to just buying this? Cost might be one factor. Ability to use. Are my engines even retrofitted enough, or can they be retrofitted to actually accept this kind of a fuel? So every point in the case, every point of discussion can actually lead to further discussion if the interviewer so desires. Now, you can realize that if you are actually doing this problem as a consultant, this could very well be like a 3-month or a 6-month study where you would first spend the first probably few days with your team trying to break this problem down. You will do a lot of analysis to try to figure out which are the bigger problems, which are the smaller problems, put down numbers there, and then try to talk to a lot of people within the industry, within the company, to try to see what are the techniques which are feasible, what are the techniques which are not feasible. Okay. So this is one problem. And why this is so, why I've covered this problem, because this covers a whole host of problems. Instead of, let us say, the problem was that let's go green. Maybe the problem was let's go digital. And digital transformation is like a big word. And I think post-COVID, a lot of companies are trying to come up with their own digital strategies. Well, if I have to figure out how a company should go digital, I will end up solving the case in a very similar fashion. I will use the same method, same techniques to the extent possible. Okay. So I hope that this problem was clear.